Levante Selby students, I am so thrilled that you're interested in participating in the science fair this year. What science is about is just getting curious about the world and how things work and investigating stuff. And so what scientists do is they come up with an experimental question, and then they make a prediction about what the answer to that question is. It's called a hypothesis. And then they test it out to find out if they were right or wrong. And so to help you with this science fair, we're going to give you an experimental question. Here it is. How do different temperatures affect the speed of a chemical reaction? And so I want to show you a little bit about how that's going to go. But first, what's a chemical reaction? And so think about all the stuff in your life, like all the stuff in your home, your clothes, your toys, the food you eat, water, stuff around the school. All that stuff is called matter. And matter can go through changes. There's two types of changes. One type is called a physical change. And so I've got a piece of paper here, and I can change it. I change the forms, but it's still paper. It's still the same stuff. It's just a little bit different. I've got a glass test tube here, and I can break the glass. It's broken glass, but it's still glass. I can melt an ice cube, and it turns into liquid from a solid. It's still water. But sometimes the change that happens is more than a physical change. For example, when something burns, like that same piece of paper, if I burn it, now it's changing, but it's changing into something entirely different. It's gases and ash. It's no longer paper. That's called a chemical change or a chemical reaction. A chemical reaction that happens in you all the time is when you eat food. Here's a granola bar. I eat that, and it's right now it's still a granola bar in my mouth, but I digest it, it goes in my body, it's no longer a granola bar. It's another chemical reaction. So every time you digest food, it's a great example of a chemical reaction in your life. And so for this experiment, you're going to get a kit. In your kit, there's going to be 3 cups like this. What I want you to do is put a line on it about halfway up. That is how much liquid you're going to put in. The chemicals you're going to use for this experiment are baking soda and vinegar. And you're probably like, why don't we just dump all the vinegar in and all the baking soda? And we could, and that would be really cool to watch, but it would take a really long time to react because there's so much stuff. What we're going to do is put in vinegar to that line, and then we're going to use a 1/4 teaspoon, just a little bit of vinegar or baking soda, and we're going to dump it in there, but we're going to record how long it takes, how much time. So I've got a stopwatch here, but you can use the clock, you can use a watch, or maybe there's a timer on your mom or dad's cell phone, and you want to record how long it takes for the chemical reaction to happen. And so you're going to be testing it in 3 different ways. You're going to have a cup full of vinegar like this, or actually 3 the same size. One of them put in the refrigerator to get it cold. One of them you're going to put into the microwave for just like 20 seconds, just get it a little bit warm. And one of them is going to be room temperature. And you can do these one at a time. And so I'm going to dump my 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda into the vinegar. And right when I do it, I'm going to start timing it. Boom. Part of what you've got to figure out is when is the reaction over. So right now it's bubbling and fizzing, and it's definitely reacting. A lot of times when you see bubbles just around your life, it means a chemical reaction is happening. But I'm going to look down at the liquid, I still see bubbles. You've got to decide when the reaction's over, and then hit stop on the stopwatch and write down the number of seconds it took for that reaction to happen. And then you're going to do the same thing with the cold vinegar, and the same thing with the warm vinegar from the microwave. And then you're going to record that data, and then you're going to do the whole experiment over again. It's called doing a different trial. We're going to verify that the results are the same. And so in your kit, there's going to be some directions on how to do that. But what you're trying to answer is this question: how does temperature affect how fast a chemical reaction happens? I hope that helps you imagine what your experiment's going to look like. And I wish you the best. I can't wait to see the results at the science fair. Good luck and have fun.